Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends, Marvel Knights, Mindless One, Build-A-Figure Wave, Blade. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are kicking off a brand new wave of Marvel Legends. It is of course the Marvel Knights wave, aka the Mindless One Build-A-Figure, and I'm starting off with a character I think a lot of people are very excited at the opportunity to upgrade in their collection. It is of course the Daywalker himself, Blade. Now, the last time we got Blade in the Marvel Legends line was in 2017's Netflix Man-Thing Build-A-Figure wave, and the character was desired, but the figure was a little bit lackluster. It was based on a more modernised design, not particularly everyone's mind's eye, and also the articulation was very limited. The figure was just a little bit off. So we have been waiting 6 years for another Blade in the Marvel Legends line, and this one looks a lot more like it, doesn't it? With a big angry face, he's got the sunglasses, the jacket. Now I do think there's a little bit of reuse in here. We will figure all that out, but can I just take a quick moment to say that window packaging is back. Good riddance, plastic-free packaging. This is Marvel Legends to me. It just instantly makes the figure look a lot better, and we also can check paint apps now. We can check for missing parts. Honestly, I will not miss the plastic-free era at all. This looks like Marvel Legends. I'm very happy to see it back. So we get the Build-A-Figure piece in the box, plus all of his accessories, Marvel Knights, a little logo up top with some blades, etc. Another comic image on the side, both sides, that same image on the back, and guess what? Right up the back, people. Now, in case you didn't know who Blade was, it does say, destined to hunt vampires and destroy the evil of the world, Blade is a vampire-human hybrid with the greatest strengths of each. And then, of course, to build the Mindless One, you will need to buy the other 6 figures in this wave. Today we're reviewing Blade. It's been a while since we've seen that sort of a lineup, so without further ado, let's get him open. So here we have Blade out of the packaging with all of his accessories on the table, including the Mindless One Build-A-Figure pieces. And when you see this much, you do feel the value a little bit more, even though selfishly, I still think we should have got an interchangeable head. But that's just me. So of course, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel and come back, because once we have looked at all the figures in this wave, we will of course build and review the Mindless One. And I am going to try and get a second one of these to flank Dormammu on the shelf, as he is technically an army builder, but we get the head and then that translucent piece you stick in the eye with Blade. So I'm going to move that to the side, and this is everything you get with Blade. So as I said, I would have liked an interchangeable head to really be happy with this, but he still looks like a better representation of at least my mind's eye of Blade than the previous version did. And of course, we're going to do some head swaps, some comparisons and all of that, but he comes with an interchangeable set of hands to grip these weapons, 2 fisted hands on the figure, a sword, and the sheath for the sword is actually on the back of the jacket. It's like glued on there as well. That's not a separate piece, so that fits in there. So you do get some options, and it looks nicer when you can see the hilt like sort of stick out from his back as well. So let me move him more central for a second. Let me move them out of the way, and let's get the tape measure out so we can see that Blade stands at just under 6.5 inches tall, just under. But he looks good. Starting off by taking a closer look at the head sculpt. Now this screams Blade to me, and I mean scream literally, as Blade has his mouth wide open. You can see the redness of the mouth, but most importantly, top and bottom, you can see those vampire fangs. Now the glasses are sculpted on there, and he also has this flat top with a couple of slits on either side, but even still it is a very nice representation of Blade. A lot more obviously emotional than those previous head sculpts, and obviously because of the movie I will always subconsciously think of Wesley Snipes when I think Blade. So yeah, this looks really nice. I think in the Toy Biz days we actually got a Wesley Snipes Blade in the line as well. So yeah, this is a very nice looking blade, at least for me, but of course we will do some comparisons. But let me spin it all the way around. My lights are a little bit glossy, so I apologize, but you can see the slits in his hair and the glasses are sculpted on there. So yeah, a lot more expressive, angrier face, which will work really well with some fighting poses. But let's do a quick comparison with that 2017 blade on that sort of more modernized hair, where he had, we also had an alternative option where we had no hair, to be honest, but the face sculpts were the same with a goatee, and then you had the redness in the eyes. Again, didn't quite scream blade for me, but it filled a gap in the collection for the time being. But this new one is the ultimate winner for me. Now, of course, I'll do a full comparison and some head swaps, but let's continue looking at this new blade here, as he does have a brand new jacket, which I don't believe we have seen in the Marvel Legends line before. I've already showed you the sheath is actually glued onto the back, which works very nicely, and it has got some nice sculpted collar pieces, some buttons going down, and a gradient red as well. Hopefully you can see that. I'll probably see it better when I take it off. We have new pinless legs, but we do have pins on the arms with a sort of rolled up sleeve. So as I said, a little bit of old, a little bit of new here, but aesthetically a lot more pleasing to that previous blade. So let me take the jacket off, and that gives you a better look at blade without the jacket on. It gives him a more tactical feel, and ultimately will still work in a display. It also shows you where the reuse is. The torso is the same as the previous blade, but the arms, legs and head are different. The legs are new, the arms are reused from somewhere else, and of course the head is new as well, but ultimately still looks really good. And it is nice to see a new Marvel Legends jacket in the line as well. Also, you can see that gradient red a little bit better in the jacket now when it's off, with the hilt matches the red there actually very nicely, complements it, if you will. But this is the previous jacket that a lot of Marvel Legends used to have. It came on an old Nick Fury, and then on Punisher and Phantom X, and maybe a few others. I think Multiple Man had it. But it is nice to see the move away from this and give us some more Marvel Legend jacket options. But I am going to try this jacket on this blade, and you know what, for a jacket that's decades old at this point, it still sort of works. And I think aesthetically some people actually preferred the flared out collar here. The plastic just gets a little bit stiff over time, but it still works for a display, doesn't it? So yeah, we have the new jacket and old jacket. Let me throw up a quick side-by-side comparison so you can make your own decision in the comments below. Let me know, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the old jacket, or are you happy we get the upgraded new one? Jacket back off just so we can take a better look at what's underneath. So as I said, same armored sort of textured torso piece than the previous blade. Does have a nice texture to it and some nice armored sculpt work. The crunch goes about that far forward and about that far back, but the waist is extremely loose. Like, I'm not happy about how loose that is, to be fair. That makes me uncomfortable. These new sort of sleeved arms do go up to 90 on the shoulder. There's a bicep swivel, and then the double jointed elbow with a hinge in the wrist. So not bad there at all. The head is on a disc and hinge, so he can look down, he can look up extremely far, and then of course you've got the swivel and all of that. Down to the legs, so from the waist all the way down to the legs, it's all new. So you do have the thigh cut up top, you've got the boot cut as well with these new glossy boots, ankle pivot and rocker, tactical knee pads with some pockets on the side. So I do like the legs, and let me zoom out a little bit so we can see what range we got. So he can sort of double jointed pinless legs that go about that far. Now the last blade couldn't really kick back at all, so let's see what we're dealing with here. So yeah, this blade at least can kick backwards a little bit, which does help with the articulation. It's just, I don't know, it's like there's a little bit of a gap. Like if I zoom in, I don't know how well you can see, there's like a little bit of a gap between the torso and the legs, which was on the previous blade. And as you can see him rocking and shaking there, not the biggest fan of that. So a little bit unstable. I do like the way he looks. Like I like the armored top, like he works without the coat on. But it's just the waist. I'm just uncomfortable with how loose that is. But overall, aesthetically, he does look good. A quick look at both blades side by side, just so you can see the differences here. As I said, torso pieces are the same, but then everything else has been switched out and changed. Now, the previous blade also had this like harness piece where the stakes were all in with the harness for the sword as well, which you can take off and use on this new blade, like so, if you are a fan of that more tactical look. But of course, the jacket won't go on over that. But it does give you options for display, that's for sure. I'm just frustrated at that, how unnatural his arms sit. Let me take this back off just to show you what I mean. Now his arms are always really far out from the waist. I do wish his arms would sit in a little bit closer to the body, a little bit more natural rather than always flexing. All right, let's get into accessories. So jacket back on, and as you can see out of the box, he does come with two fisted hands so we can punch some vampires in the face. But he of course also comes with a pair of grips gripping hands so we can hold his other accessories. So first we have the sword, which you can see he will hold with two hands, but because of the lack of butterfly joint and the overlay of the jacket, it does make it extremely limited. If you're just going to have him standing on the shelf, it's absolutely fine, but for some more dynamic poses, it may get a little bit frustrating, but he can hold it really well, and I'm sure this sword is reused from somewhere else. As I said, it's got a red hilt to match the gradient of the jacket, and then a chrome blade. And of course, all vampire hunters need to come with their own set of stakes to stab through the hearts of vampires, and Blade is no exception. So these are just separate pieces that other Marvel Legends can borrow if they need to go hunting some vampires, that you can just hold in the hand, no problem at all. Grips them really nice and looks great for display. And then forgive me, I'm not a ninja or a martial arts expert, surprisingly enough, but he does come with these two other bladed weapons, these dual bladed weapons. Let me know in the comments below what these are officially called, but he comes with two of these. They do have a little bit of red on the sort of middle as well, the rope, which again is a nice contrast to the jacket, and he can hold and pose with these really nicely as well. So ultimately, with all the weapons, you do have some posing options. And there we have it, with both blades all geared up. Here we have our official modern era Hasbro Marvel Legend blade comparison. We have 2017 versus 2023, so there's 6 years between the two, and what they've done is used the base of the torso on this version and then built around it with new parts and pieces that do ultimately give it a better aesthetic and is a better representation in plastic of at least my mind's eye of Blade. Of course, I'm only ever speaking for myself, but I am much happier with how this guy looks, and if the arms were pinless, it would have been a completely pinless figure, but again, that's be all end all. He does come with a better range of accessories as well, and just a better figure in general, I think, compared to this one. So again, you can let me know in the comments below which Blade you prefer, but I am going to be surprised, unless they like that particular storyline with this version of Blade, this is ultimately going to be the one people want. And yes, of course, it's the same torso piece, which means it's the same neck peg, so you can switch heads between the two. So if you do want a more neutral looking Blade, you could use the old head, but I definitely think the red glasses are a little bit off-putting. The black ones just look a lot more slick, and he also has hair. Next up, Blade is the vampire hunter, so when you think vampires in the Marvel universe, your brain goes to Morbius. So here we have the old Morbius. It did get a re-release this year with the 6-arm Spider-Man, if you're missing out on it, because these two do pose up together really nice. Here we have Blade next to a couple of street level heroes with Spider-Man and Daredevil, who are both on the Renew Your Vows body, of course, better articulated, and they look really nice with Blade. And they're not vampires, but they will still work for some fodder for Blade to beat up. Here we have some hand ninjas. For some female characters, here we have the brand new Black Widow and Elektra. Here we have the 20th anniversary Captain America and Iron Man. And here we have Punisher and the 3-pack version of Venom. And let me take this opportunity to say, we definitely need some more Blade related villains in the Marvel Legend line. Let me know who they should release in the comments below. I'm going to start off by saying Marvel Legends Dracula and his daughter, of course. If you want to see more comparisons, just DM me on Instagram, and if I have the figures, I'll send you a picture. But until then, let's finish with some of the Who crew. We have Frogman, Tigra, and Jocasta, who is reading out comments from the last Marvel Legends review. Make sure you leave a comment on this video, and she may pick yours to read out on the next one. Who have you picked today?
Luke Line Productions says, I personally really like this Goliath figure. I love the metallic blue and white.
And then last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. Not yet. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Marvel Knights Mindless one Build-A-Figure Wave Blade. Now, I'm very happy with this updated version of Blade, as I still think it is ultimately an upgrade compared to that previous version. Now, that previous version represented a particular version of Blade within the comics. This one is a more generic mind's eye version of Blade, at least for me. I can only speak for myself, but when I look at this, it is undoubtedly Blade, and it just aesthetically looks a lot more pleasing. You get all the different weapons, accessories to sort of make him pose up a little bit more interestingly, and the head sculpt is nice. I do like that you can see his fangs as well. That is a big element of Blade. He is half man, half vampire. I would have just liked the sort of neutral option as well, but I'm not mad at this. We do get the new jacket too. Again, just the pinless arms and then changing out that torso so it isn't as loose around the waist would have really upgraded it get that little bit more as well. So is it perfect? No, of course not. What is? But it is still a very nice Marvel Legend and undoubtedly a solid representation of Blade for your shelf, for your collection. So you let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you plan on getting this? Are you going to make any mods or changes? Is there something they could have done differently? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments below. But if you like Marvel Legends, one thing is for sure, you are in the right place. Check out the playlist, the podcast, but most importantly, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit all of the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much, much appreciated. You can go and check out all those other tiers and follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, at Dan Who Reviews. And I will, of course, see you on the next one.